Welcome to The Sober Gay, a podcast about being sober in the LGBT community and beyond. I'm your host, Dillan Gay, and yes, that is my last name. Hi, Aubrey.
Hello, Dylan.
How are you?
You know, I'm living it up. Feeling good.
I love that. Full transparency, it's the same day as the last episode.
What? No. No, it's not.
Aubrey, call the press.
Oh my God. It's media day.
Yes, we're talking about the media today.
Yes,
and
we
their
are.
their influence on drinking culture.
Yes.
Rampant is the first word that comes to mind.
Love this because especially right after Pride,
Yeah.
all of the advertisements that I saw for Pride were alcohol.
Well, the whole theme is how fucked up can I get? How drunk can we get on Pride? Like, I remember that narrative. I used to have that same thought process. Like, okay, I'm going to get so wasted on Pride. Like, oh my God, my Pride story. So,
yes. Oh, Pride story.
I went to Pride a couple years ago in Denver. It was a great day. I was not sober. Aubrey was sober. I was getting hammered as I always do. And, you know, when I got to the point where I was blacked out, so my friend got me an Uber, and what he didn't realize was he had changed the Uber destination mid-Uber to get himself one as well, which then rerouted my Uber while I was sleeping in the back seat of it to his place, which is like 45 minutes away from where I lived. And because it was complete opposite direction of where I was living south of Denver, and it went completely north.
You were like the north tip of Denver.
Yeah, like not even in Denver. It was another town. And so I got there, and the Uber driver wakes me up. He says, get out. And I say, okay. I get out, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, where am I? At this point, my phone was dead.
Yes, that's why you had to get the Uber.
Yes, that's why my friend got the Uber for me, because my phone was dead. And so I'm looking around like, okay, I think I might be like down the street. Because, when you start looking around, you're like that brown out kind of drunk. You start to think like, okay, maybe this is where I am. So I started walking a little bit, and then I like look around even more, and I'm like, but wait, this road's supposed to turn there, and it wasn't turning there. And I had this little moment of panic of like, okay, where am I? And I just like kind of like surrendered, because then it started to rain. So I sat down on the curb, and this was maybe like 2 minutes after, getting dropped off. Someone pulls up to the stop sign, and they say, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I don't know where I am. My phone is dead. I'm like wearing this little like a shirt, kind of like what I'm wearing right now. If you want to see that, you can go to thesobergay.com, click on the watch tab. I'm wearing a shirt like I'm wearing now. And I'm like, it said, keep calm and kiss boys. So like, they're looking at me like, this guy is probably not a threat. And I'm like, I need help. I don't know where I am. They're like, well, we can give you a ride to your house. Just get in and like give us the address, and we'll drop you off. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I think I'm just right down the road. And then I tell them my address, and they're like, dude. They're like, okay, this is going to be about a 45-minute drive. But we're gonna take you home. And I was like, no, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll Venmo you or whatever. I was just like incoherent. I ended up like switching Facebooks with them, and we still like each other's posts to this day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And now they know you're sober too.
I know. Isn't that so great? She actually likes a lot of my stuff about that. I don't want to go into that next story, but anyway. It's just a really, like, I felt in that moment I had fucking angels in my drinking days, because like how I was literally on that sidewalk sitting there for like maybe 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Like it was like nothing. And they showed up to just like, hey, do you need a ride home? Like I was 45 minutes away from my house with a dead phone and like hardly any clothes on.
I just remember getting a message from you, and you're like, I don't know where I'm at. And I was like, I don't know where you're at either right now. And I was
Wait,
talking.
well, I didn't have my phone though. How did I message you that?
Did you mess? It might have been way after. I don't.
I think you might be thinking of 2 different
This
times.
might. Oh my god, I am thinking of a different
Yeah.
time. Sorry.
No, there's because I was about to say I didn't have a phone because there's no way I could have texted. I didn't
I've
text
called a
anyone.
lot of
I didn't know
Ubers
where
for
I
you in the
was.
day.
Yeah, you have called a lot of Ubers for me in the day. But that moment specifically was
I'm just glad you made it home
horrible.
safe.
I
And
know
that is
I
what
had an
pride tells
angel.
us to do. That is
Get
really.
home safe. And I did not. I thought I was getting home safe, but my biggest thing was I was sleeping in Ubers. I loved falling asleep in Ubers.
I don't think I've ever fallen asleep in. That's a lie. I have definitely
I
in
was
the
always so
morning.
drunk, and I was
Mm.
just like, just so wasted. I think a lot of your Uber life has been a lot of Denver too, so you've been sober. So.
Yeah, a lot of and I do little naps. Like when I went to the airport in the morning, I would do a little nap in the Uber sometimes, especially if they wanted to talk to me at like
such a
6 in the
different
morning.
such a different clarity than a drunk nap though.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so true.
Yeah, you can wake up from those
So
naps. Those
true.
drunk ones, damn, you're like a rock. I
Uh-huh.
went to Charlie's last night, which is the gay bar here, and I had my cranberry juice. I was dancing a little bit, but I noticed there was this one guy who was just so drunk, and my heart just went out to him because he was just like leaning over a
Mm.
chair and like put his head down on a chair, and he was just standing there rocking. And I was just, and then like the
You
bar,
know that moment too. You're like, oh, here it comes.
yeah, I know. And the bartender came over and brought him a glass of water. And the guy was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "Water." And he's like, "Thanks, I need it." And I watched him like drink the whole thing down and then just like hold the glass and just start spilling the ice and just like,
Ugh.
I was like, damn, like my heart goes out. It's just like, I know, like I've turned it to like compassion. Like I feel for this guy because we've all been there.
Yep. I feel like I do not look at drunk people like in a negative light. I look at them as just people like, trying to find their way.
Yeah, there was a time in my sobriety where I did look at them negative,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to like cross over into the compassion and
Mm-hmm.
just like,
No, I did too. I was like, I can't be around this. I don't
yeah,
want to be around it. Or like it was a lot to
I was
handle.
very uncomfortable. I had to like remove myself and move and like see something else because I was like, I can't just look at this guy anymore. It's just too much, you know.
Mm.
So that brings us back full circle to the media. And like, just like going into Walmart is so annoying because like I remember in the middle of the pandemic, I was taking pictures of all the different masks that were available and like
Yep.
the fashion masks, and
Yep.
I'm making little hand quotes because they would be like, mommy wine and shit like that. They just all blur into one word. I feel like an AI robot when I describe them because it's like mommy wine, need now, beer, goggles only. Like that's the mask. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
Like if an AI had to generate like
Anything that any drunk person would say, this is what it would be.
it's just the public now. It's like so sad. I was in Walmart, which is the highest, classiest shopping place in America.
I mean, yes.
I love Walmart.
Yeah.
But for that, I don't love Walmart like that on a capitalist level. But just being in there looking at the mask, getting back to that, I'm like, this is disgusting. This is what's being promoted to the masses.
Yeah.
This is like what they think is best for people. And it's just
Yeah.
so sad. And then those same people will wear those masks and then look down on someone who's struggling with drugs, not realizing that they're on a drug.
Yep. And they don't want to think that it's a drug because it's legal.
Yeah, because drinking is legal. Big whoop. Okay.
Good job. Congratulations. You got your shitty drug that kills people all the time. I'm sorry. That was really rude.
Right.
That was judgmental. I
No,
shouldn't
but
have said that.
I get it though, because it's illegal. Like collecting rainwater is illegal. Like okay, so you're gonna tell me laws mean anything? Okay, well we're
going somewhere right here. All right, so advertisements. We are
going
talking
there.
about the hammering of capitalism.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then don't get me started on that because during my most recent ego death, I have learned all about capitalism and what the hell is going on around us. And oh my god.
And capitalism is the root of why we have these shitty media.
Yeah.
Why we have the shitty media right now.
Oh
and
yeah,
the
it does
stuff
all come
that
down
can
to it.
that can be advertised to us as people. And when we see alcohol advertisements everywhere, what do you expect you're going to want to do and
Drink.
expect to want to get and drink? And what do you expect that people think is cool. Like
Well,
that's
capitalism tires you down to a point where you're so weak. And what's the best thing for a weak person? An escape.
yeah.
To get all this energy and dance and stimulation and lights and clubs and bars and drinking and different sports events. And like, that's how we are like ingrained to spend our time. Our spare time, what little spare time we're taught that we have.
Yeah.
Because we're
Like,
supposed to work 40
if
hours
you're
a
not
week.
working, then you need to be at the bar or you need to be at a restaurant and then you need to get a drink. And then if you don't have a drink, then you're not cool. So you might as well just go home and do nothing.
Right.
And it's tiring and it's endless and it doesn't stop because it's like every commercial that you see, Coors Light, Bud Light, all of that is all around you all the time.
They're not even beer commercials anymore. They're like, the one made me cry about the horses or whatever. It's like, what the fuck is this selling me? Why am I crying?
Why am I crying over beer right now?
Ew. But they got me.
Yeah.
That was, I don't remember. I'm sure someone remembers the Super Bowl commercial I'm referring to, but it's the Super Bowl in general, capitalism.
It's all around.
I saw a thing on Reddit the other day, and it was it was like different broadcasts of the same sporting event from different places in the world, and all the advertising was different, and it was digitally like CGI placed over the billboard, so it was moving while the camera was moving, and I was just like, whoa, that looked so normal. Like it was just all a green screen pretty much, like being cast like different advertisement for the same game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even thinking about when you go into a stadium or a game, what is like the first thing that you smell and see? Beer and brats.
Yeah, and just see all the advertisement for it, leading you to where you can find the drinks and the beer and the alcohol. And I'm like, wow.
It is all pointed towards the advertisements down on the bottom. They're all Bud Light, Miller Light.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. How do us sober people go about living our sober lives when all it's splashed at us is all this drinking? I feel so bad for the people that aren't as like confident in their sobriety and who might be in the first stages or wherever they're at in their sobriety where they can be triggered by those events. But just know, if you're triggered by those things, why are you being triggered? Overcome that trigger and like learn like that you can be more powerful than the advertising around you when you start to expose and question everything around you about that. I talked about that on the last episode.
Especially since you don't have a freedom to choose what advertisement is being played in front of you or not.
You start to realize like just turn yourself off. Like flip a switch when you see that shit. Learn to just like, if you see a big billboard that you see every single day, notice a flower or like something near that, a tree that's cool near that billboard or something that you could just point your focus to and be like, no, you know what? From now on, I'm going to look at that tree instead. And I'm going to start to notice a little detail about that tree every time I look at it. And then eventually I'm going to be able to paint the picture of that tree in my head. And then guess what? You don't even see that billboard anymore. Fuck that billboard. Unless it's a billboard for the sober gay, which I'm trying to purchase.
Hey, I-70, I-25, look out for the sober gay.
Well, no one's going to see our billboard now.
Well, no, look up at those billboards. It's talking about being sober.
Billboards. We're driving. Why are we seeing drinking billboards we're driving?
Drink and drive, drink and drive.
It just like subliminally puts it there.
Though that's what they teach you in America. You have to get a car when you're 16. You have to do this, but you can drink and drive, but we want you to go out and drink anyway, but we don't provide you with transportation or any other safe way of getting home, so you're gonna have to drive anyway, and that sucks, but you spent $5 on a Bud Light and you feel great. We
don't get taught. We get taught driver's ed, but we don't get taught pedestrians ed. We don't get taught like how we should safely navigate the world around us with our feet. The only thing that we're given, some of us, like we have, you know what I mean? That's we're not, and to see the lack of accessibility with wheelchairs in this world, disgusting. Inclusive events that aren't wheelchair accessible. Excuse me, did you hear what I just said? That there's inclusive bars that are promoting themselves as inclusive that are not wheelchair accessible. Let it sink in. Who's catering what? Sorry. I just got so heated on that. It pisses me off
I
though.
know. Yeah. Seriously, we want to cater towards everything and tell everyone this is what you do, but then we also say you can't be involved in it, but you can't be involved in it, and you can't be involved in it. But
Yeah.
everyone else can.
No one like the people that are in charge of sculpting our world for us are not in touch with the world, and that's the problem. You have a sign in Braille that says "Caution, hot surface." Think about that. You know what I mean? Little things. Who made that?
Mm-hmm.
if I'm sorry. The world is not catered to anyone for their best interest. Just
It is
keep that in
catered to the
mind.
companies. It is catered towards making sure that you stay drinking. They don't care about your well-being.
Right.
They do not care about if you go into AA or if you go into a coffin. And I'm sorry to be so blunt about it, but
Right.
they don't care.
Because what is big alcohol's response to all this? Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
It's on you.
That's all they can say. Drink responsibly.
Yeah.
But yet you throw all of these things saying you should drink all the time. You should drink all the time.
Yeah. What is drinking responsibly? Because one glass of wine inebriates you. So
Mhm.
like, how is anything about the situation responsible at all? It's all about, letting out your inhibitions and like,
Mhm.
so to even paint the narrative of drink responsibly, suck my ass. Like, we all are just falling into it.
It's oh my god, we really are. We and there is I guess this again comes back to we can break this cycle. We can stop it and like just allow those advertisements to pass. Allow those advertisements
Yes,
to
block it
either
out.
block it out or let it sink in and let it realize where you don't want to be
Right.
anymore and let it like show you that that's not where you want to be anymore. So I advertisements are they just suck. And even in movies and in TV shows and in all of that, like we were just watching the new iCarly the other day.
That's what I said to you. I was like, the first thing I noticed about the new iCarly is they're drinking in every episode.
Mhm.
I'm like, little things like that. No one even notices that except
Mhm.
for us sober people, I'm sure. But I was just like, wow, iCarly, girl, you're drinking every episode. You
Mhm.
okay? Like, but it's.
And then I'm also watching the Celebrity Dating Game. Great show, by the way. Zoe Deschanel host it. Love her. But watching that, there was like they were talking about what you do on your first date, and they're like, I would get a glass of wine or a martini,
Yeah.
and it's like, how do you know? First of all, the person that you're talking to is not sober,
Right.
like, and then second,
not
why
even
is
a thought.
why is that the first thing you want to go to is get a glass of wine on your first date, like, or that instead of like, I just want to get to know the person. That's what I want to do on the first date. Sit down and talk to them.
Being active on Tinder and Hinge, that's most of people's profiles that I skip away from now. That I'm like, if you're holding a beer or drinking every single picture, every single event, like it's just I don't know. Like I don't mind dating someone who drinks, but I'm like, if you're presenting yourself and you don't even realize how much you present alcohol in your life, like we're probably just not gonna work at this point in time. And like Tinder's probably the worst, but it's like whatever. I just
It's okay. And it sucks to see people almost all the time be in that situation because it is almost like every single event that we have, there's a drink involved now. Like it doesn't matter where you go anymore. They're like, you go to the park, there's beer. You go to the laundry store, there's beer. That was in Portland. They have beer. They sell beer and liquor at the laundry stores while you're waiting. Like
yeah, that's
what
ridiculous.
what a such a ridiculous concept just to sit down for 30 minutes. Oh, but you can have a beer too while you're
Oh my
doing
God.
your laundry.
There's a lot of grocery stores back around the Raleigh area where I used to live, and they are huge on like grab a beer while you shop now, and they put the little coasters there, and there's like a little craft brewery section of the grocery store to go have a beer while you shop around. But if I light up a joint, I'm just kidding.
But if you think about it, those people who are shopping around with that beer, what are they doing? I bet you 100% bet you 90% of them did not walk there, did not bike there. I bet you they drove there.
Yeah.
So not only are you saying don't drink and drive, now these stores are saying, but you can have a drink before you go drive back home with your groceries.
Right. It's so like, what are we being taught? And like, I feel so bad for people that are struggling, like I said earlier, that aren't able to like not see these things, and they just think that's being taught to them. They think that's what's important is the drinking. And
well, and I think, sorry, you brought up a good point, and I kind of wanted to, but the whole marijuana thing,
I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna take that part out.
oh, well, I just went there. So
Go ahead.
I mean, honestly, it's something that has been proven to help medicate people with like a lot of issues, diseases, things like that that help them get better. There's a lot of things that have been proven, and yet we want to like stigmatize that. We want to stigmatize marijuana. We want to say that it's bad for people. But yet people aren't dying. People are getting better using it. Yet we don't want to stigmatize alcohol, and people are literally dying every day.
Yeah, for sure.
Every day. And it's not a joke. Every single day people are dying from alcohol, and it's either a crash or heart related issues or kidney related issues or things like this that people are dying from. And yet we are taboo against the thing that is saving people's lives.
Yeah. And like people keep comparing the two too, and it bothers me that it's so normal for us to compare the two, because I don't even see them in the same category. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, if I'm not all about, if you want to use marijuana in your sobriety, the definition of sobriety is to abstain from alcohol. But I know there's a lot of people that like their ego gets in the way of their sobriety, and they like to say and dictate other people's sobriety and say things like, you know, you're not truly sober if blah, 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 blah. Who are you to say anything about anyone else's life? If someone's living their life and they say, thank God I don't drink every night anymore, and it's changing my life for the better, and I'm using marijuana to enlighten myself and see different parts of myself. Who are you to say, no, you're not sober? That's so inappropriate.
It really is. It is. Whatever you have a problem with, that is what you should fix. And that is what you should focus on fixing.
If you have a problem with anyone else's anything in their experience, if you have a problem with anyone's haircut, if you have a problem with anyone's attitude, anything, question it. Question why you feel that way, because it might not be them.
Yeah. And it's not. Don't worry about how anyone else is living, because in the end, if someone is sober and smoking marijuana, they will eventually come to a realization if it's not good for them. Because in all honesty, if you get sober from alcohol, I feel like you, or any drug, you get such a heightened sense of like who you are.
Yes.
And you know where you can stand. So like, don't tell someone you can't stand there because you can't.
Right. Yeah.
Does that sounded really weird?
No.
Don't tell someone they can't stand there because you can't.
Yes.
Let me say it that way.
That makes sense.
They can't stand there because you can't.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Just we're here to talk about sobriety and our gay lives, and we are sober and we condone sobriety. So we're happy if you're sober from alcohol. That's our thing. You know, like I say all the time, the definition of sober is to abstain from alcohol. So that's what we're here to talk about. And we've never really talked about the marijuana thing until now for that reason. Because people are so sensitive to it. But no, screw that. It's the ego. It's their ego getting in the way of their own self-discovery. Don't dictate anyone else's choices. And it like you don't have to have an opinion on everything around you. It's not your place to always have to shape everyone's existence around you. Maybe look internally and realize that you might have some controlling issues and some where is that coming from? Where is that spawning from inside of you?
And maybe that is part of the reason why we have addictions too, because of that controlling aspect. I know I had a controlling aspect that I wanted to be able to control my life.
Right.
That's why I drank too.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to control my emotions and not feel them when I wanted to, or feel them when I wanted to, or like do this. That was my.
Yeah.
So maybe you should look inside if you want to control someone else's life and say, maybe this is why I'm drinking. Maybe this is why I'm not sober right now.
Right. Okay. Well, we're bringing it around to the end of the episode. We could go into this for another episode. I think that's fun. You know what? Visit our website if you want. If you don't. But what is it?
It is thesobergay.com.
And you know what? You can go to our Instagram, but fuck Instagram, fuck the media. But what is it?
It is the Sober Gay Podcast.
And you can send us an email. It just sounds so funny to say it now after talking about capitalism thing. I'm like, go to our Google email.
So this is what brings us. This is how you have to live in
Yeah.
this world sometimes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on another episode, maybe.
What's our email?
Well, it's thesobergay.com.
I love you.
I love you too.
Until next time,
Stay sober, girl.